remember the book Atomic Habits? It's one of the best books where it comes to making changes, changing your habits. And it's Atomic Habits because you start with these habits and you build bigger habits, more sustainable habits. And James Clear, the author who wrote this book, had a quote that I saw the other day. And he said, if you want to master a habit, start with repetition, not perfection. Think about that. Start with repetition, not perfection. Don't look to be perfect with your actions. Look to be consistent. And that often means starting with something small, mastering that habit, mastering that ability, and then moving on. Then trying to make it more intense, then make it more fancy if you need to. And this is why when we talk about our approach to your goals, we talk about mastering the first one, build the first level, get good with it, then add the complexity. So if it's nutrition, for example, get consistent, get repetitive, build your reps with calorie deficit before we start worrying about protein, before we start worrying about carbohydrates, before we start worrying about time of day that you're eating and snacks, etc., etc. Start with something. Start with repetition, not perfection. And by asking all those extraneous questions, you're worrying about perfection. You're worrying about hitting all these check marks as opposed to just getting a check mark. Scoring a goal rather than worrying about tying up the game all the way. You can be more successful if you start with mastering the repetition before the perfection, the consistency before the perfection, the habit itself before perfection. So start with one thing, start with something, and build up that success with that habit, and then move on to something that closer resembles perfection. If you want to master a habit, start with repetition, not perfection. Thanks for that, James Clear.